Hey, BassGeek here, and today I'm going to give you some tips on some winter jig fishing. Hey guys, you can see we got snow on the ground, so it is finally and officially winter out here where I live. We're going to talk about fishing a jig, a little bit of a finesse jig in a winter presentation. I'm going to talk to you about how I fish it, the kinds of weights that I like, but first I want to talk to you about a little giveaway. If you stay to the end of the video, you'll find out how to win. We are a little behind, so hopefully if things work out right, for the next 3 Sundays, we're going to be doing Mystery Tackle Box Pro giveaways. So Mystery Tackle Box Pro, they send me a box every single month. That's why I'm behind. You guys haven't seen this, and I give that box away. Now, again, this is why we're doing 3, because I didn't do November, I didn't do December, and we've got January. That box should be coming in any day. It is January where I'm at right now. Or it's January where everybody's at. But anyway, it's January right now when I'm filming this video. All that being said, let's look inside. So one of the very first things I'm going to see in perfect timing, we got the Guggen Junior Scout. I love a small jerk bait as we get into January. You know, those small bait fish begin to start dying off. This is a really good color for today. Got a little bit of that gold in it, and it's got that silver too. Great sunny day color, especially for the watercolor that I'm in, which is normally clear, but you can tell it's turning over a little bit, so it's got a little bit of funk to it. Something else I actually like during the winter time, and this is a technique that we may do a video on sooner or later, and that's an actual rattle trap. This is the ARC LP38. So I'm gonna guess that's a 3/8 ounce, but you can actually use those things, and they're great when you can get them out there deep, and you just let them sit on the bottom and just shake them around just on the bottom, flip them over on their sides. Great way to catch some cold winter bass. From Weston, we've got the ring crawl. Now this is perfect, and this is kind of what we're going to be talking about today, putting this on a jig. It's very much like a twin tail grub, and I really do like a twin tail grub in the colder weather. It's a very subtle action. And then of course we've got, let's see here, the Excite Reflex, and this is the jig that we're going to be tying on. Now this is a 3/8 ounce, so a perfect, that 1/4, 3/16, 3/8, that below ½ ounce is a great jig. I like a slow fall. Now, yeah, you know, I love if I'm fishing out there, let's say 20 feet or more, even though I've fished a 3/8 ounce a lot of times in 20, 25 foot of water. I'll push that to there, but it's such a great slow fall. Like I said, it can kill this time of year. Another great little bait, I think it'd have a little too much action right now, but this is the Biwa, or the Biwa. I don't remember how to say that. Anyway, this is the Warwick's, and it's basically a nice little crawl. That'd be great for punching, doing a few other things. And then of course we get the Daiichi hooks. I'm a big fan of the Daiichi hooks, very good hooks. And as always, Dibble Digest. Here's what the box would cost you retail. Here's a nice little card on the Scout Junior, the action that it's supposed to have, and as always, a cool little sticker. But for now, let's get to talking about the jig. All right, so let's talk about rod, reel, and line setup, guys. For me, even for Finesse, this is a great setup. Now, if you're on the bank, you may want to go a little bit shorter. If you're throwing from the bank, you're probably going to want to look at that 1/4, you know, 3/8 ounce Finesse, you know, something in there, that 3/16. And so you're going to want to downsize. This is a 7/6 heavy fast action. This is one of the Psycho sticks from Akuma. This is my go-to jig rod. This rod has a great tip to it. I can literally fish a 1/4 ounce jig on this, but from the bank it might be a little long, so you might want to downsize that rod. Go to something that's, you know, a 7 foot to a 7.3. But for me, especially fishing clear water, I like to make longer casts, and sometimes I'm going to be fishing out in open water, deeper water this time of year, so I want to be able to make a long cast, get past it, and drag through that school if they're down there. The line on this, always K9. This is K9 fluorocarbon Pro 100, and I'm going to fish it in 12 to 15 pounds. Lighter line in the wintertime. I will tell you, lighter line in the wintertime. This is on my Akuma Helios reel. This is probably one of my favorite combos from last year. The Helios has quickly become one of my favorite reels. Just the way it palms, the way it sits, the way it feels in your hand, the way it casts. It casts great. But this is an 8 1-to-1 reel. You can get away with anything. For me, if I'm bouncing the bottom, I want something 7 or higher. Now, if I'm fishing a jig, which, you know, I'm not going to be doing here, if I'm fishing a jig and a lot of heavy cover, I'm going to stay in that 7.75 because I got a little more torque. But if I'm fishing out in open water, that, you know, 7.5, 8, as fast as you want to go, will work just fine. This is one of the places I like to fish a jig this time of year. Now, the water is really stained up. For this lake, it's crazy. We probably got 1.5 feet of visibility. Now, cold, dirty water, that does mean that these clear fish, even on a cold day with the water temps, they will come up a little shallow because they're used to sight feeding. So what you want to target, especially later in the day like it is right now, are those areas that are getting sun all day because they warm. So we got a main lake point over here with a little bit of brush on it. We got a main lake point with a little bit of brush, and so this is a perfect area to start fishing this jig. Don't be afraid to fish up shallow, and basically what you're going to do is you're just going to throw it out there and you're going to do what everybody does during the winter time. You're just going to drag this jig. You don't want to move it far. You don't want to move it a lot. Every once in a while, you give it a little tiny hop, but 90% of the time, you are going to let it sit for 4 to 5 seconds, and you are just going to drag this jig on bottom. We don't want a lot of movement at all. But again, a great place is that tree over there. You want to get over there and throw it right in the middle of that junk. But don't run right up on it. Fish it, even with the dirty water, fish it at a distance before you get that boat up there to where these fish that are already lockjawed because of the cold are suspicious about what, you know, your boat coming in. And just like about everything during the winter, bluffs, channel swings, that's where I like to fish a jig. Now, I will say you need to get as tight to the bluff as you can, especially if it's a deep one. You want that jig up against the rocks. You're going to let it drop, and you're literally just going to drag it. Small drags so that it falls off each level. Because as you can see on up there, you can see the undercuts. Well, that's where these bass will get. And when that jig falls down each level, they'll just suck it in. So pay attention to your line. Another key thing about working these bluffs, make sure that you're working each individual little point and pocket as if it was a main lake point or a main lake pocket. A lot of times when the sun's been hitting these bluffs all day, they'll sit right out there on the darker rock. So you see how the rock gets a little darker down there. Or they'll sit out suspended over and from these little points that you can see sticking farther out, waiting for schools of shad to swim by. Ooh. Well, I did get a bite right there. It tore the one of my claws off. Now this isn't a normal claw. Again, I'm using this. I would not use this bait or this rage crawl in the winter, but this is what I had tied on. I don't want to lose your jig down this rock. All right, all that being said, that's kind of how I'm going to fish a bluff with a jig. Okay, I'm going to stay in tight. I'm going to work it down each little ledge, let that jig fall, and hopefully they're going to pick it up. Again, not a lot of hops, just dragging tiny drags and feel it fall, and then give it line, let it sit, drag it, let it fall. So how do you win this box? All you have to do is hashtag winter jig, okay? Winter jig, hashtag winter jig in the comment section below, and you can win this box. We'll announce it next Sunday. I don't know if there's another giveaway. I know we got like 3 in a row. I don't even know where this one falls. So we'll put it in there somewhere for you. And, good luck to everybody. As always, questions, comments in the comment section below. If you've got any questions about fishing a jig in the wintertime, make sure you leave it in the comment section. And don't forget, hashtag winter jig to win the entire box. Like it if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you ring that bell so you get the notifications. You can watch these videos and you know if there's a giveaway, or if you know if you won the giveaway. Those notifications are a big deal. And as always, you guys rock.